Good evening, councillors, good evening, members of the public, and welcome to this Sandwich Town Council ordinary meeting of the council on Monday the 29th of January 2024, and welcome to this meeting. The first item on the agenda for this meeting is something that I've been working at for a little while now, and I've been trying to build up relationships with the schools in the town as we had before, and in particular with the both of the secondary education schools. One of the schools, I don't know if everybody's aware, has got a combined cadet force, which is Sir Roger Manwood's. And we used to have, at our parades, we used to have a band, and we used to have a parade of cadets. And one of our traditions, we used to have a mayor's cadet, which was a nice thing to have, which is a matter of the cadet attending all the civic functions and coming along and supporting the mayor, along with the town sergeant and what have you like that. And through some negotiations with Sir Roger Manwood's, we found the most suitable candidate to be a cadet. So tonight I would like to introduce you to Cadet Lance Corporal Samara Whiting. Would you like to come up to the corner here, please? Thank you. So that's it, thank you very much. So this is going to be the new Mayor's Cadet, and this is Cadet Lance Corporal Samara Whiting, and I'd like you to all give her a big round of applause. I'm very grateful for the involvement as well. Thank you very much for that. There's a certificate from which the town clerk has prepared for you, and this is a very special. Nobody else will ever have this badge, because this is a very, very special badge that is only relative to Sandwich Town Council, and I'd like you to wear that with pride. So thank you very much for being my cadet for this year, and I look forward to seeing you at a lot of my events. Thank you very much, and thank you to the parents for bringing her tonight. Thank you very much, everybody. If you wish to retire, you may leave before we start on the other agenda items, if you would. So thank you very much for coming tonight, and I'm very grateful to you for attending. And I'll see you again soon. Thank you very much. Okay. Chair's opening comments, and so that's that item there. And apart from that, I won't go through the entire itinerary, but I had two major events that I attended, which are of some extreme note I'd like to bring forward to. One was Margate's Blessing of the Seas, which I've never done before, which Councillor Franklin never told me about to prepare me. So on a very, very, very freezing cold early January day, I went over to Margate and stood on a beach for several hours. But it was very nice to join the Greek Orthodox Church in their ceremony over there, which was quite nice. And of course the other major event, which myself and Councillor Mrs. Carter got to attend, which was absolutely outstanding, and once again a great showpiece for Sandwich Town, was the medieval banquet. I think it was called a hog fest or something, but it was to recognise King Richard III's visit, and also his letter which he sent to the Mayor of Sandwich to say, get your defences rebuilt and sort your town out. So and he came to the town. I think that's 1484 that he came to the town, and which was quite nice. So we went to that, and we had to be king and queen for the evening. But it was a magnificent event, and it really showcased what the Medieval Trust and another organisation called BASH could undertake for the town. So it really put us on the map for that. So and of course we've attended many other events, but of a minor case there. So one of the other things I'd like to do, and most importantly, is to welcome back an old friend. So I'd like everybody to say a big welcome and thank you to Councillor Martin Pennington for rejoining us, and just to say that we've missed you and we hope that you're fit, well and healthy and ready to join in some good old debate and help us to move this council on. So it's lovely to have you back. Thank you very much there. So, and then the other items I had were two other items. One item I had, unfortunately, was to do with, it's a bit of an upsetting one, but it's actually to report that the Town Council has been under a sustained series of attacks onto the Sandwich Town Council, which unfortunately have been posted on something called Sandwich in the Villages Conservative website. And unfortunately these items have been raised with Sir Roger Goff and a couple of other members of Conservative. Roger Gale, sorry. Thank you for correcting me there. But they've been posted, but they're totally false and fictitious items and these statements. And although Sandwich Town Council completely accepts that in the political realms there should be an ability to challenge or even criticise, this has been going on for quite some time now, and it's become almost systematic and sustained campaign. So myself and many of the councillors are undertaking a legal objection to these ongoing attacks. It's detracting from the important work that needs to be done, and they don't adhere to the councillor code of conduct. So it's very sad to see that these are being posted. But as I say, a legal course of action will be taken to stop these because they are defamatory and libelous actions, and we'll be undertaking this to protect the councillors from any further intimidation or abuse. So hopefully that will come to an end there. And then lastly, my last item, which is another sad item, is to actually notify any of those that you don't know, was that ex-councillor and ex-mayor Ted Kingsland has recently passed away, and he was one of the very senior and revered councillors who was with this council for a very long time, and as I say, a mayor here as well. And he had quite a large business in the town, and his family are in the town. So, but we will notify anybody, the town clerk will notify when the funeral, the service and the wake, which is to be held here at the Guildhall, will go ahead. But it's with sadness that I have to say about his passing there. I don't think, do we usually have any silence for?
That's up to you, discretion, Mr. Mayor.
Okay then, yeah, I think it'd be very nice if we just held a minute's silence for this ex-councillor and mayor. So if I could just ask for your silence for a minute, please. Thank you. Thank you very much, councillors. That's very respectful of you. Thank you for that. So, item number 2 is apologies for absence. Do we have any apologies?
Yes, Mr Mayor. So Councillor Breen sends his apologies, a personal commitment.
Thank you very much. And item number 3 is declarations of interest, and that's to receive any declarations of disclosable pecuniary interest from members in respect of business to be transacted on the agenda tonight. Do we have any declarations of interest? That's none. Thank you very much, Town Clerk. And item number 4 are the minutes of the full council meeting, and this is to approve the minutes of the ordinary meeting of Sandwich Town Council held on the 18th of December 2023, and to consider any matters arising from those minutes not covered elsewhere in this agenda, and that's attachment 1A. Do we have any items of discussion? Councillor Chuka, first of all.
Thank you. I was just going to refer to the action log, so I'd like to thank the Town Clerk for including the action log. Certainly from a transparency and a governance perspective, it's important to include this in meetings. But what I was going to suggest is, as we've now got it, is rather than go through outstanding actions, and it's good to see a number of them are closed, is that we take the time from this meeting to the next meeting to allow the Town Clerk to engage with individual councillors involved in any of the outstanding actions, so that you can come back to the next meeting with proposals around the actions either as an update, or maybe one of the 2 of them are actually due for closure because of the passage of time. Just need to add in any actions from tonight and also from the last meeting to this action log, but it's really good to see this here now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Black.
Yes, I'd like to echo what Councillor Chirk has said. It's very welcome to see this, and it saves us going through item after item, so well done. There is one item which is incorrect in the minutes of the last one. Item 12.23.14, there was one abstention to voting for the payroll system. You don't need to guess who it was, and it's referred to in the F&GP minutes and in the Tollbridge Fund minutes as well. So if we're going to amend that, please.
Sorry.
Oh, could you repeat that?
Yes,
Yeah.
The reference, please.
12.23.14.
Yes.
There was an abstention.
One abstention.
One.
Yeah.
I don't know about others.
Okay, thank you.
And then Councillor Fortescue, I believe.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. With reference to STC 12.23.10, Porton Haven Commission meeting, I gave a verbal report on the proceedings of the last meeting of the Porton Haven Commission, and I've got 2 corrections to make. I've been informed that mooring fees have in fact been paid for the P22. I've also been informed that DDC does not charge the Nicholas any mooring fees.
I see. Thank you very much for those amendments. Okay. That's good. And then Councillor Marie.
Yeah, thank you, Mr Mayor. So reference 12.23.25, this council appointed me to be the representative for the Coastal Communities Alliance team. Just like update, I've made contact with them, but I've had no response from them as of yet. That's it.
Thank you very much for that update there. Okay, if there aren't any other items to raise on that, then I'd like somebody to propose and second these minutes, please. Councillor Marie and Councillor Chuka seconding. And all those in favour, please use your cards to show appropriately. So,
One abstention. Yeah,
one abstention, all the others have. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, councillors. That's passed. And then the next item is to receive the minutes of the planning meeting, and this was to receive the minutes of the planning meeting held on the 6th of December 2023, and this is attachment 1B. this was on Wednesday the 6th of December 2023. Do we have any matters to raise on these minutes? Councillor Franklin, please
Yeah,
stand.
Prove it, but there was a bit of a problem with the planning committee because we was in quorum. Could we remind councillors that they can't make a committee that they have a seconder to take their place? Otherwise, because it has to be done at a certain time to get to Dover, doesn't it?
It does,
So especially
indeed.
planning, it's very important that they are quorum for these meetings.
Oh, sure. Okay then, yeah. So if anybody on the planning is unable to make the meetings, if you could send in a deputy, that would be most helpful. So, could I have a proposer and seconder for this one?
Just wanted to make a comment on this, Mayor, if I can.
Oh, please stand.
So reference 1223.4, public participation part. The one resident made some comments regarding myself. Just to point out that those comments were made by myself and the town clerk as a response to that person. It has been widely known that that person, who is also a co-optee of that planning committee, has now since resigned but not told the council. So the council needs to start looking for a new co-optee from the chair of the town team if they would like to contact the town team to get a new co-opted member.
Thank you very much for that, Councillor Marie. I'll get the town clerk to look into that and find out about that. So, could I have a proposer and seconder for the planning minutes, please? Councillor Fortescue and Councillor Morehouse. And all those in favour, please signify with your cards. Please hold them up. 4 abstentions there. Thank you very much, councillors. And then lastly, to receive the minutes of the Finance and General Purposes Committee held on the 11th of December 2023, and this is attachment 1C. Do I have any matters to raise on this one at all? No? Okay. So Councillor Tucker is proposing the Finance and General Purposes Committee. Could I have a seconder? Councillor Mrs Carter is seconding that. And all those in favour, please signify with your cards. Is that an abstention?
I don't know about Are you abstaining, Councillor Franklin? Yes.
Two abstentions. 3 abstentions.
Yeah, I was
Thank you very much. That item is passed. Thank you very much, sir. Item number 5 is the payment schedules. 5A, to receive and note the payments for mid-January totalling 27,898 pence. Those payments which are not supported by a minute reference have been authorised by officers with delegated powers of expenditure. Item 5B is to receive and approve the schedule of payments for January totalling £3,510.40. This is attachment 2A and 2B. Could I have somebody to propose and second those payments, please? Councillor Franklin and Councillor Gray. To those and all those in favour of items 5A and 5B, please show. Okay, it's unanimous there, I believe. Thank you very much. And then item 5C, Council to confirm nomination of 2 signatories to authorise end of January payment schedules on Bankline. And item 5D is to Council to confirm nomination of 2 signatories to authorise the mid-February 2024 payment schedules on Bankline. I'll put myself forward for the. I can put myself forward for the first one, but not the second one.
Okay.
Do we have any other nominations at all for authorisations at all?
I don't mind doing it, Mr Mayor.
Is that for both of
For
them?
both, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much for that. So we've got
We need one more person. For
one more person for the mid-February. Do we have anybody for the mid-February payment schedule, please?
Yeah.
Oh, Councillor Wiles there.
Thank you.
So I'll do both of them, and then Councillor Franklin and Councillor
Yeah,
Wiles.
you're doing the end of January.
I'll do end of January.
That's
Yeah,
right,
sorry,
yeah.
end of January.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry,
Thank you.
beg your pardon.
Just need
So
to-
the mayor's doing the end of January one, along with Councillor Franklin, and then Councillor Franklin will be doing the February one with Councillor Wiles. All those in favour of that, please signify.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, and that is passed. And item number 6 is the public participation item. A 20-minute session is set aside for members of the public to make representations at the meeting in respect of the business on the agenda and other matters if time permits. Individual representation should not exceed 5 minutes. Written notice of the desire to exercise the right to speak, together with the topic to be addressed, must be given to the town clerk prior to noon on the day of the meeting. Item number 6. Do we have any?
Mr. Adam Griffin.
Oh, we have first speaker is Mr. Adam Griffin.
Yeah.
Would you like to come and stand at the front and address the council? Make yourself
Just to be
comfortable.
clear, he's on camera, but I think we need to
Oh yeah.
practice
Are
it.
you happy to be on camera
Yeah, no, I'm fine.
for this? Is that okay? Are you all right with that, Christina? So that's it. So if you'd like to stand there and address the council, and you've got up to
It's
anything
only-
from
briefly,
0 to 5 minutes.
Just to introduce
So put
myself,
yourself-
so I'm Adam Griffin. We purchased the old schoolhouse, the old nursery, through auction. I just wanted to put my my face to a lot of things have been said about the place. Our intents were to purchase it as a family home, historic building in Sandwich, convert it into a family home, work with everybody as closely as we can. We initially, our architect put a planning application in for a double-storey building. On reflection, we made a mistake, so instantly took that back because of the impact it would have had to the local neighbours, really. So, and yeah, basically that's what we've done. So we're trying to work with everybody, work with the council, work with everybody we can, whilst also reflecting that we do own the building. So yeah, we just, obviously there was a lot of objections against it, and there is at the moment. So yeah, just put a face to me to owning the building and what we're trying to do with it. We're not
Thank you
looking
for
for anything else but convert it into a nice family home. Own a sort of a historic part in a historic part of Sandwich, which is very hard to obtain. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say really. I
That's
thought there'd be
brilliant,
more
yeah,
people to.
That's excellent.
Just wanted to make sure that things that are being said,
Yeah.
not by other people that I wanted to be here for that really, to sort of anyone that's got any questions, then I'd like to answer them. So.
Brilliant. That's
And I will hang about. Obviously, if anybody wants to talk to me about anything, then it's absolutely fine. But we've been totally open. Obviously, the mayor knows. We're trying to talk to everybody as much as we can,
Indeed.
and the neighbours. So we've had an open house for people to come and meet us and discuss any concerns. But I feel that we've tried as hard as we can to address obviously any concerns, because I'd feel the same. Anybody building a house that was going to impact my lifestyle, I'd feel exactly the same. So, yeah, that's all I want to say really. So, thanks for
That's
giving me
good.
that
Thank you
opportunity.
very much for coming and introducing yourself and explaining the situation.
Yeah.
And if anybody had any questions, then Mr. Griffin would be available later on to speak to if you so wanted to, if that's okay. I think that's very admirable to come and
Show
explain the
face to it,
situation.
so thank you.
That's
Thanks
very
for
good.
that.
Thank you very much for that, Mr. Griffin. And our second one is Christina Glynis.
Thank you.
So thank you very much. Would you like to address the council? You have 5 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Christina Glynn and I'm addressing the council this evening in relation to agenda item 13, road safety audits for the cattle market and the danger to pedestrians and road users caused by restricted visibility when buses are parked at Guildhall Bus Stand B on the corner. I raised concerns previously with full council in January and March 2023 and also at the annual town meeting in May 23, when we were informed by DDC that road safety audit stage 3 was still in progress and that all residual risks were being addressed. However, having gained sight of road safety audit stage 3 this month, which seems to be incomplete because it lacks the project sponsor responses and the completion of the exception report, and it's not even signed off. and it appears that significant risks have still not been assessed. Firstly, a vehicle overtaking a bus at bus stand B and turning sharp left into Cattle Market is at risk of colliding with pedestrians crossing the road between the Guildhall and the old HSBC Bank, perhaps having alighted from the parked bus. This risk is heightened with electric vehicles that cannot be heard by pedestrians while the vehicle is obscured by the bus. That is, until the vehicle is approximately just 2 metres away from colliding with the pedestrian. 2 metres is not an adequate stopping distance, which means vehicles are likely to swerve onto the opposite carriageway to try to avoid hitting a pedestrian, assuming there is no oncoming traffic at the same time. I have had 2 near misses as a pedestrian in this scenario, one with a car and another with a cyclist. I was almost halfway across the road in the incident with the car, so that collision was easier to avert. But the cyclist came speeding around the bus straight at me. He was unable to stop and he swerved across the carriageway while I tried to jump back at the same time. Secondly, emergency vehicles are at risk of getting stuck in stationary traffic in New Street due to an insufficient gap for traffic to pass through between a bus parked at bus stand B and a truck unloading in the bay opposite, which is especially a problem when 2 trucks are unloading simultaneously, meaning the rear truck is positioned at the very rear of the loading bay, often overspilling the boundary. This is not a rare occurrence. I have observed it many times. Further, trucks using this loading bay make deliveries to other streets in the town, for example King Street and Market Street, meaning that delivery personnel have to transport goods some distance on foot, and unsupervised trucks are parked in the loading bay for longer than if making closer deliveries. Drivers are frequently not present to be able to move a truck in the case of an emergency. There is also a third risk area that I was alerted to by a resident that occurs less frequently. That is, when traffic is heavy, it sometimes becomes gridlocked in Harnett Street, meaning that a car trying to overtake a bus at bus stand B and turn left into Cattle Market towards Moat Sole gets stuck to the right of the bus while indicating left. And then, when traffic in Harnett Street moves forward, the bus sometimes moves forward too, as well as a stream of traffic directly behind it, leaving the vehicle that intends to turn left stranded in the right-hand lane, unable to complete its left turn manoeuvre until all the traffic has cleared. This was very distressing for the resident who reported it to me, who frequently needs to turn left at that junction. She is worried by the thought of being in a bus's blind spot and the bus pulling off just as she is coming around in front, and now also fearful of getting stuck on the wrong side of the road due to the above scenario. Sandwich has many elderly drivers who are genuinely concerned by the bus stand on the corner and their ability to manoeuvre safely around parked buses. Please, would STC request audit risk assessments and mitigation measures for the above? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Christine. We didn't have any other topics. Okay, thank you very much. Item number 7 is a verbal report from our Dover District Councillors on matters appertaining to sandwich only. Thank you. Councillor Morehouse, would you like to stand and address the council, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm referring first of all to the meeting that was held on the 29th of November, which is 2 days after the last council meeting that I attended here, in which we agreed on the new corporate plan that the new administration has put forward. And I'm pleased to say that all but 3 of the Conservative members voted for this corporate plan. In fact, Councillor Bartlett complimented the plan on how closely it followed their plan. So the corporate plan focuses on four themes, which was improving our housing, growing our economy, protecting our environment, and supporting our communities. And with a 5th ambition underpinning these objectives, which is modernising our council. I've asked the DDC leader, Councillor Kevin Mills, and the DDC deputy leader, Councillor Jamie Pout, how the corporate plan specifically differs from that of the previous administration. They've offered a meeting thus far, and I'll report back on that meeting when it eventually takes place. Likewise, I have asked DDC Shadow Leader, Councillor Trevor Bartlett, and DDC Shadow Deputy Leader, Councillor Chris Vinson, how the corporate plan being implemented specifically differs from that of their administration. Councillor Vinson has advised that there is no mention of the fast track electric bus public transport scheme, which is being delivered using a £23 million grant that they secured from Homes England. It will be the first fully electric bus service in Kent and is due for completion in 2024, or was due for completion. I will get clarity on that. Secondly, no mention of the transformation programme that the previous administration introduced to drive efficiencies and improve effectiveness in council operations. This was allegedly scrapped by the new administration shortly after the election, and it's not clear how it will work and how it will be delivered, if at all. And again, I will seek clarity when I meet with Councillor Mills and Councillor Pout.
Thank you.
Thirdly, all council employees to have performance and development reviews with objectives linking corporate priorities, service plans and individual targets. This is something that the previous administration fully support and have been pushing for the senior leadership team at DDC to introduce for several years. Again, I will seek clarity on the new administration's take on that. No mention of the importance of dualling the A2, improving the traffic assessment projects and tackling traffic around the port, which was a focus under the previous administration's Keep Dover Clear campaign. And lastly, no mention of the importance of increasing housing available in the district through the delivery of strategic schemes at Aylsham and Whitfield. The majority of residents live in privately owned or rented accommodation, and it's important that this focus is maintained alongside delivery of social housing so residents can access quality affordable homes. This supports our local economy, town high streets and job market. Again, I will give clarity from Councillors Mills and Pout. Last Tuesday I had a meeting with Ian Dudding, who is the Head of Waste Services at DDC, and specifically concerning the new scheme of green waste removal collection. So the 2023-24 green waste collection service did cost £58 for the provision of 6 off 90 litre sacks, with each sack having a weight limit of 20 kilos. And this is deemed a safe lifting weight by the Health and Safety Executive. The new rate will be £62.65 for a 240 litre bin with an approximate weight limit of 50 kilos. And in terms of pounds per kilo, the increase equates to 62.4%. In this meeting, I sought to seek clarification on a number of misconceptions regarding the new scheme. The changes were recommended by officers at DDC in the autumn of 2022 on health and safety grounds in order to mitigate against potential claims of musculoskeletal injury, and would have had to be adopted no matter which political party had gained control of DDC in May 23 local government elections. I believe that the suggestion for a pointless and costly consultation would only have served to inflict additional expense on the taxpayer. It would not have achieved any objectives. This is an officer-led initiative dictated by health and safety rules, of which most companies, councils, have to adhere to. There's no perfect solution. I very much lament the increasing costs, although it should be noted that before the new scheme was decided upon by the Labour-controlled cabinet at DDC, the council had the second highest service cost of the 9 district or borough councils in Kent that offer free bins. Only Tunbridge Wells was more expensive. Folkestone, Hythe, Thanet Folkestone and Hythe, Thanet and Dartford charge for the cost of the bin on top of the outlay for the service provision, whereas the other authorities, including ourselves, provide one free issue bin. Dover District Council were, up until this scheme is being introduced, the only one of the 12 district or borough councils in Kent not to provide wheelie bins for green waste service. The other 11 have provided the service since at least 2020, so we're well behind. It's noteworthy that, and I do take into account some of Councillor Bartlett's very valid concerns about this. Councillor Bartlett made comparison with Tonbridge and Morning Council, which was quite ironic because that's where I work. The service rate at Tonbridge and Morning Borough Council is £49.50, not £42 as reported in the press release dated September the 4th, 2023. And they charge an additional £32.50 per additional bin on top of that. The statistics that were provided by Councillor Bartlett failed to take into account that the Tonbridge and Morling Borough Council is the 6th most populous authority in Kent, and DDC has the 4th lowest number of people living within its authority. Furthermore, in terms of gross disposable household income, the Tonbridge and Morling Borough Council is approaching double the statistics at almost 10%, due to average earnings being the 2nd highest in Kent, and only Sevenoaks has higher average earnings than Tonbridge and Morling. Moving on, a falsehood published on Facebook that claims that Labour and Sandwich Matters are increasing parking charges in Sandwich, which stated that the madness must be stopped. I do not support or have any affiliation with any of the political parties at Dover District Council, and consider that the tax-paying public would be better served if all tiers of local government were independent of party politics. The current composition of Dover District Council is 17 Labour councillors, 14 Conservative councillors, and myself as an independent. The Labour group have control of the council with a majority that does not require my support to prop it up. With respect to the hourly parking tariff, in 2007, when the Conservatives gained control of DDC after a period of no overall majority, the hourly tariff was 50p. That was increased to immediately increased to 70p on them taking control. That tariff was then frozen for 10 years until 2017, was increased to £1 before being increased to £1.20 in 2020, and then by a further 30p in 2021. The current rate of £1.60 an hour was introduced in 2022. Clearly, there is no evidence that had DDC remained under Conservative control, there would have been no increase in parking charges. The madness existed under the previous administration, and this increase is merely a continuation of it. At £1.60 an hour, anyone working in a shop for 7.5 hours on minimum wage would spend just over 12% of his or her daily earnings on parking charges. That is not sustainable. Moving on to Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, when we have a full Dover District Council meeting, which will include on the agenda the council tax base and the council tax reduction scheme. The council tax increase for 2024-2025 is 2.25%. This is the lowest increase in percentage since 2013-2014, when the increase was 1.86%. It is It's worth noting that council tax was frozen in both 2014-2015 and 2015-2016. Coincidentally, there were general and local elections in 2015. The lowest increase since 2014 was 2.51% in 2022-2023. And in all other years, it's been pretty much approaching 3%. It's also worth taking into account that the allocation of the council tax bill for Dover District Council is just 9.7%, compared with 11.3% for the Police and Crime Commissioner and 71.3% for Kent County Council. With respect to the Council Tax Reduction Scheme, the Levelling Up and Regeneration Act 2023 allows for a change in the application of council tax premium on long-term empty properties. The Act allows for the original 2-year period when the premium was applied to be reduced to 1 year. The proposals are 100% long-term empty premium for properties empty and unfurnished for one year but less than 5 years. 200% to long-term empty premium for properties empty and unfurnished for 5 years but less than 10 years, and 300% long-term empty premium for properties empty and unfurnished for periods of 10 years or more. Using figures at as at the 20th November 2023, there are 120 cases subject to the long-term empty premium, empty for 2 years but less than 5. Using the council tax figure of £2,072.85, this generates £248,742. If the 2-year period is reduced to 1 year, that revenue will be received by the council 1 year earlier than at present. Based on the assumption of collecting 75% of the £187,000, the district's share of 9.7% of that revenue would be approximately £18,000 collected a year earlier than under existing legislation. The council will also vote on the application of 100% council tax premium on properties that are unoccupied and furnished, referred to as second homes, from the 1st of April 2025. This will mean that the owners of properties that are unoccupied and furnished paying double the normal council tax. I think that's about it. I'm still in contact with DVC on the limes and on, I believe, Councillor Shuker might have something to contribute towards Fellowship Walk. And obviously this evening you've had your discussion on play parks. Thank you, Grant.
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry it's so long-winded.
Thank you for that, Councillor Morehouse. I believe there's a section coming up where other councillors will be able to raise issues. So if we can continue. Item number 8 is the verbal report from our Kent County Councillor on matters relating directly to Sandwich. Councillor Chandler, would you like to come and address the council, please?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, councillors. I wanted to talk first about our Kent County Council budget. So I spoke about this when we published our draft budget back in the autumn, and we have recently, earlier in January, published the draft revised budget. So that shows that we have a total budget requirement of 1.4 billion, of which 577 million is allocated to adult social care and 418 million to children, young people and education. I've spoken before about the fact that those two take up by far the greatest proportion of our budget. We spend the greatest proportion of our budget on people services that we provide. It's perhaps worth saying that when we started that process, way back in the autumn, we had 118 million of savings that we had to find in order to balance the books. So that has actually been achieved. So the revised draft budget is now a balanced budget, but it has been achieved with some degree of one-off savings and some degree of the use of reserves. And we share that in common with nearly all county councils and unitary councils who have to deal with the cost increases that are associated with those people services that I talked about. So there was additional funding announced last week for social care, which is very welcome. KCC is likely to receive somewhere in the region of between 10 and 11 million as our share of that total fund. You can understand that in the context of the total budget numbers that I'm talking about, whilst it is welcome, it is not going to resolve the considerable problems that we will face. And the leader has commented, and I would agree with that assessment, that the financial challenges for councils will remain at every level, I think, that will remain, but particularly for those councils who provide the people services, the frontline people services of adult social care and children's care. And that is likely to remain whatever the outcome of any elections as we go forwards. So anyone who wishes to view the total budget can find it on the Kent County Council website, and when I send this report to the clerk, I'll put a link in to that particular document. So moving on, there are grants available totalling more than 246,000 from KCC to support local businesses, charities and community groups working with our young families and children. So these are grants in respect of antenatal contact grants and perinatal mental health grants, both of which are particularly important in the early life of children. And if anybody is aware of any local businesses, charities or community groups or anyone who works with them that might be interested, then please do pass that on. And again, I'll put the details will be available. There is also available the Kent Parish Council Winter Support Scheme, which is inviting applications for new or existing initiatives helping people in financial hardship. That is open now. Applications can be submitted until the 1st of March, and there is a sort of set of criteria around the kind of organisations that could apply for that to help those people, primarily on low incomes, but all those people who might be suffering financial hardships, and that can be contributed towards schemes that actually purchase goods or schemes that provide services in addition. So, and all those details are available. And finally, on a slightly more light-hearted note, I thought councillors might be interested to hear a little bit about the Kent Film Office. So this has been established now for slightly less than 20 years, but it was set up to generate inward investment from the film and broadcast industries, as well as ensuring that any filming takes place is legal. So the activity generates on average more than 5 million spent into the Kent and Medway economies. But a number of films and TV series shown over Christmas included scenes shot in and around Kent, facilitated by the Kent Film Office, including the Call the Midwife Christmas Special, The Serial Killer's Wife, which was on Paramount, which was in the Folkestone Dover area, Mr. Bates versus the Post Office, which was mostly West Kent, but season 6 of The Crown on Netflix included scenes that were shot in Discovery Park in Sandwich. So all of that activity generated about 1.7 million for the Kent economy. So it's an ongoing activity that very rarely gets publicity, but happens all over Kent, and we have had filming at Dover Castle. We've had filming on famously in Deal as well. So the Film Office not only promotes, it also ensures that any filming that takes place is done properly and legally, and that income is properly received into the Kent economy as well. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much for that, Councillor. Oh, were you happy to take the question?
Good evening. Just to turn the focus back in on Sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
I know that you had a meeting on the 9th of January with a resident regarding traffic management issues. I'd expected an update at this meeting because the town team chair was going to write to you, but it hasn't happened, so that's okay. I was going to ask for an update on it because there were a number of issues raised, many of them historic, not many new issues, but it's important that this involves the town council in terms of resolution, not least because any options that ultimately are identified probably will have to come to the town council to consider funding. So I think it's really key to hook into us on this. So I would like to have an update. I've seen the list of the issues that are raised, so if you could do that either by your written update or for the next meeting, that would be brilliant. But I've got a specific interest in one of the issues because I'm liaising with a different resident, but it appears on the list that was discussed. So that's around speed cameras, and it was mentioned about that you were going to, so correct me if I'm wrong, but you're going to speak to Toby Butler. The gentleman that I'm working with on his issue wants to speak to Toby Butler. So I'm really trying to help here in the sense of hooking up with this resident, because if not, I think what might play out is the same conversation as before and the same answer. Things have moved on. There's a resident who's put lots of effort into this particular issue and has got some solutions that are different from what's been presented before. And I'd hate to lose the opportunity of getting back an answer that is a repeat of a previous answer.
Okay. So there's a few things there.
Yeah.
So yes, I did have a meeting with a resident. The correspondence. So as always, my correspondence with residents is my correspondence with residents, and I will be going back with a full response. Yeah. If the resident is expressing to me that they would like that shared with the town council, or they're happy for it to share with the town council, of course I'm willing to do that. But unless I have that sort of wish expressed, then residents' inquiries are residents' inquiries. However, I do understand the fact that we don't want several people following the same hare, chasing the same hare. So I perfectly understand that. And so it is perhaps finding a way of giving a more general update rather than a specific one that I might express to a resident who's brought an inquiry to me. So I'm quite happy to find a way to do that. In terms of the speed indicator devices, which was the topic of conversation with Toby Butler, so the correspondence on this is normally with the speed watch group that operates within a parish or a town. When I did have a conversation with Toby, which I have, about that particular issue, because the conversation was around the fact that there are now technologically new cameras available, which may possibly be able to operate within a 20-mile-an-hour limit. So some of you will be aware that normally speed watch and speed indicator devices are not able to operate within a 20-mile-an-hour limit because of the tolerances. Toby advised me that he had sent some information to the speed watch group, and he was waiting for them to respond back to him with that. Now, I'm very happy to facilitate whatever it will take to make sure that we can all work together to try and get some kind of outcome on this. Now, I'm happy to do that by contacting Speedwatch and then contacting the clerk and etc. etc. Whatever is going to work. But
it can be a lot slimmer than that.
That's fine.
If the resident concerned that I'm dealing with is Speedwatch,
fine,
enshrined, so it's the right person.
If Jill can send me all those details, then I will undertake to make that happen, together to try and get some kind of cohesive response to that.
Yes, I do. Thank you very much for that. So, did you just one more? And that's
briefly, yes. Well, I think it's very interesting about the Kent Film Office. I wonder if we haven't done so already, whether the council could approach them, because everyone seems to accept that Sandwich and this building is very underutilised in terms of filming locations, and it could bring additional money into the town.
Good point.
I've just literally dealt with the film office this week. Okay. So we've got an inquiry which we are going to realise some income. So I am having conversations, and that has happened.
Your answer.
The system works.
Question answered.
I think the mayor was involved in a somewhat different exercise in terms of a well-known crisp product not so long ago, which probably came through
Indeed,
which
I have.
probably came through the
I've been involved in two actually, Councillor Chandler, as well as the Walker's Crisps. I was involved in a film that was being made to recreate the 1984 miners' strike as well, which I believe used some of the locations advised by the KCC Film Office as well. So a documentary on that as well.
I'm glad Sandwich Town Council is going to get some income from it.
Indeed. Thank you very much for that, Councillor Chandler. That's very kind of you. Item number 9 is a report from our local police representative and community warden for Sandwich, and to receive reports from the local police or community warden, Peter Gill, if available. Did we have anything from the police officer?
No, there's no report from PC, but I do have a brief report from the community warden, Peter Gill.
Oh right, I see. Had you, sorry to ask, had you applied to the police officer so we had some?
I did tell her of the dates of the meeting, but I haven't had a conversation with her recently. So, but I've certainly seen her in the last couple of weeks.
It would be nice because I've noted from a conversation I've had with residents that just to bring up Councillor Tuker's query earlier, there is a large number of residents from the High Street that are working together now to look at speed limits and traffic flows. And they've approached a number of councillors in this chamber, I believe. So, but what is happening is exactly as Councillor Tuker quite rightly posed to Councillor Chandler, that really we do need a one flow for all the questions and answers to go through. So hopefully these will go through to Councillor Chandler and then they can come back. But one of the questions I was asked was about speed tests or what have you in the high street, and by the local resident, and I said I wasn't aware of any, and then only today I was told that one was done earlier this month. A speed check was done earlier this month by the police officers and KCC. So I have asked our police officer for the dates, and I have asked the police officer to liaise with this council, because with all due respects, we're the ones that know which roads need the speed checks on, and as long as they can conform to the constraints, there are very strict constraints, then I don't see why we shouldn't ask for the speed checks on the roads that we want now. So, but thank you very much. I'll ask the town clerk to read out a précis of Peter Gill's Kent Community Warden report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So Peter had two issues that he wanted to report to members. One was around rough sleepers. We do know that there have been one or two rough sleepers in Sandwich, and Kent Police, Dover District Council and Porchlight, along with the community warden, have all been engaging and supporting the individuals. The warden himself has provided hot food, drinks, clothing and some company. And the people of Sandwich have been very kind and caring towards some of the individuals. So we just wanted to say thank you. As the weather declined on the 6th of January, the severe weather emergency protocol was initiated by Dover District Council, and emergency accommodation for people sleeping rough in the district was initiated. And this was actually Discovery Park Travel Lodge. So that's where some of these individuals were given shelter. So that's really good. Also, we just wanted to demonstrate that people that are sleeping rough, some people do get the impression sometimes that they're not being acknowledged, but he just wants to absolutely endorse that they are engaged with, and the authorities and agencies are doing their best to engage with the people and make sure that they're looked after. The Kent County Council Community Warden Service consultation, they received nearly 1,400 responses, with a significant number not supporting the proposal to cut the service. The KCC Cabinet meeting of the 18th of January voted through the proposal to reduce the warden service, and there are currently 45 community wardens across Kent, and only 38 are going to be required under the proposal. He said there was a service-wide meeting on Teams to find out how the reduction was going to be managed, and what impact it would have on their work areas. However, there was a late challenge by a KCC Cabinet member, and the consultation has been called into scrutiny by the scrutiny panel. He doesn't know the circumstances of the challenge, but he said that obviously procedures will need to be looked at where the consultation took place, and the scrutiny panel are due to sit next week, delaying any further news or action for another 2 or 3 weeks. He apologises for the delay, and he said obviously due process needs to take place. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Town Clerk. That's very kind of you. And then item number 10 is updates from councillors. This is to receive and note verbal updates from councillors on meetings that they have attended as nominated representatives of the council. Can I just ask that you have 1 slot each, and it is relevant to meetings to do with the council, please. Councillor Anderson first.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have attended 3 events relevant to the council. The first was a meeting with Network Rail, which emerged as the consequence of my actually encountering Sandwich residents who had been trapped on the Woodnesborough Road level crossing. And I was delighted to see a large number of representatives from Network Rail and a number of councillors, particularly, perhaps a somewhat disappointing number of residents, but nevertheless it was an extremely informative meeting, and I understand that the PowerPoint presentation was going to be sent. I hope it has been sent to the town clerk.
So I haven't received it, but I have had an email today, and the representative said there will be information shared in due course. He's got some data that he wants to share.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. So we can expect that. It was a reassuring meeting, I think, in its quality and the kind of information that we were given about the way in which the level crossings are controlled in this town. Of course, there are 4 of them. The second event was organised again by myself along with Guildhall staff, and this was the official launch of the Leave to Land exhibition, which I think many of you saw, housed in the courthouse. It's now a courtroom, and it's now gone, I believe, to Deal Library, and it's going to circulate across East Kent. And I was delighted that Bishop Rose, Bishop of Dover, came to speak at the event, and I think a number of you were there, and I think I've had lots of emails saying how much people enjoyed it, and I'm very grateful to them. It was an important event for Sandwich, and I hope something like it could be repeated over the years. And finally, in the absence of the mayor, I went as deputy mayor to the graduation ceremonies of Canterbury Christ Church University in Canterbury Cathedral on Friday. The cathedral was cold, but the students were cheerful, and remarkably I met somebody with whom I share an education. So that was a good
Super. Thank you very much for that, Councillor Anderson. I think Councillor Tuke was next, and then Councillor Moran.
Thank you. So I've got one to report on, but I also was at the Network Rail, and I'd like to thank Councillors Anderson and Black and the Town Clerk in terms of facilitation of that. It was a really positive event, and safety first came out very clearly in terms of what Network Rail are about. So it was a very positive event. So I just wanted, in the absence of Councillor Green, I just wanted to mention that we had a joint police and councillor drop-in session at the Age Concern building on the 4th of January. We had a mixture of residents coming in. Some of the issues are well-trodden issues, so on pavement parking at Deal Road, parking in the town centre along Cattle Market, motorbikes on the bypass, but it's the new officer, very keen to hear about those things, get involved. She's already been out to the Deal Road to check on the parking along there. We also had some specific council business around allotments. A rumour had been circulating that we as a council were looking to sell off our allotments. Well, if that's any truth in that, I've not heard it. So it was a good morning session, and it was great to have the PC there with us.
Thank you for doing that. Thank you for undertaking that. That was excellent effort, mixing with the members of the public there. I believe I had Councillor Marie next, and
Yeah, thank you,
Councillor
Mayor.
Franklin.
I have four
Councillor Moore.
to tell you because I'm a busy person.
Oh, good. That's
As
good
we
to
all
know.
are. So town team, as STC representative of the town team meeting took place on the 15th of January. Many councillors attended that. The big talking points were the inadequate phone signal within Sandwich. The chair of the town team is going to send a letter to the two MPs, Craig McKinley and Sir Roger Gale, regarding see what we can produce. The big talking point was traffic and the speeding within the town. We've mentioned it before. It was agreed that an action group would be set up with myself and councillors and the town team, part of the town team, to see if we can have it all in one basket, eggs in one basket, as it were, to all work together and see what we can do with that. The other thing bear with me, is Cattle Market bus stop, but we're going to speak about that at the
Indeed, save that.
just to let you know, a meeting, I was there, meeting took place regarding the Dover District Neighbourhood Watch Scheme. The chairman has since resigned due to ill health, so there is new officers in place. I can safely say that Councillor Dan Friend is now the chair of the Dover District Neighbourhood Watch Scheme. I am vice chair. I will still be representing the Sandwich as part of the Neighbourhood Watch Scheme.
Excellent.
An email is going to go out to all town clerks within the district for them to invite them to a meeting, to have them see what's up for grabs and stuff, and see if we can get a district-wide Watch Scheme put in place. The other thing was last week I attended the Gays and Sorts trustee meeting. That was well attended by the volunteers. Their winter programme is in full swing. They have to stop soon because of the bird nesting season that's going to take place. They have made a purchase of a new tractor because their tractor decided to give up the ghost, so they have purchased that. And also, and they're looking for more volunteers to help out on Wednesday morning. And the final fourth thing is Sandwich Community Christmas Lights switch on. Their AGM is been announced. It will take place next Tuesday at the Fleur de Lys pub at 7 p.m. And that's it. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much for that, Councillor Marie. I have Councillor Franklin next.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm quite surprised because last year I kept getting cancellation of the AGM of the Citizens Advice Bureau. So I know everything's in flux last year, but then get cancelled a couple of times this year. So I did say to you, didn't I? I said that I've had an invite. So I went down the last Wednesday and I thought it's a bit, I think it's a bit. So I got invited. They said there's the Mayor of Sandwich. I said I think you're a little bit behind there, about 9 months behind. But the meeting was very nice. They're very pleased to be coming back to the Jubilee Centre there. And they are looking for a treasurer. So anyone's interested in becoming the treasurer of the CAB, they'd be very welcome. Okay. And here's our representatives.
Thank you very much for that, Councillor Franklin. And finally, Councillor Morehouse.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I attended the Dover area meeting last Wednesday, where had a very lengthy presentation from Affinity Water. I will share the PowerPoint presentation with councillors when I receive it. There wasn't a lot of time for discussion, but the things that were discussed were primarily to do with the new residential developments and the need for solar panels and rainwater harvesting. The other additional topic that was discussed is concerning the litter on the roadside, because I found this out last week that the cost of that is £250,000 per year because of the cost of closing fast roads. The reason it's been reported that it's been scrapped, that is not true, by a certain political party, Kells the Breeze. That is not true. They cancelled the October one to reach budget cuts because they inherited a budget from the previous administration that they're sticking to. I'm told that the work will resume again in April. and there is plans to have 2 roadside Elizabeths in the district this year.
Oh, good. Thank you very much for that, Councillor Morehouse. That's excellent. It seems that all my councillors are doing exceedingly good work, so thank you very much. Well done on that. Item number 11 is financial information, and that is to receive and note Sandwich Town Council's statement of accounts as at 31st of December 2023. This is the income and budget expenditure, which is attachment A3. So that's this one here. So could I have a proposer and seconder for these finances, please? Thank you very much, Councillor Marie. Could I have a seconder for that, please? Councillor Ripley, thank you. And all those in favour, please show as suitable with your cards. That's everybody. Thank you very much, councillors. That item has been passed. Item number 12 is the review of financial regulations and proposed increase for delegated expenditure. And members are to consider the report from the RFO with recommendation from the Finance and General Purposes Committee that supports the proposed increases of delegated expenditure for the Town Clerk. This is a review of the financial regulations following a strong recommendation from the Internal Auditor on his interim report. The interim report is attached as an appendix to this report, and a decision is required. This is attachment number 4. Can I just hasten to add that it has gone through the Finance and General Purposes Committee, and their recommendation is to accept this. These recommendations are based on the auditor's recommendations. So I'm just putting that out there so you'll understand. Councillor Wiles.
Yes, this was discussed at Finance and General Purposes, and as you say, it was broadly welcomed. The only proviso was that there should be an amendment to this to say this is subject to these items being within the budget, and that the Town Clerk or the RFO should report back to the next meeting on any items where these delegated powers have been exercised.
Indeed.
And if you're happy to accept those recommendations, those amendments, then that would be good.
Thank you very much. Councillor Marie, could you have a... No? Okay.
I would like to propose this, except that this council is asked to approve the changes to the financial regulations. I would like to propose that.
Thank you very much, Councillor Anderson. Is that with Councillor Wiles's amendments?
Yes.
Oh, super, that's good. And Councillor Chuka is seconding those, and if you'd all like to signify if you agree.
Yeah.
That's unanimous. Thank you very much. That's good, thank you very much. Okay, item number 13 is the road safety audits for the cattle market. The Town Clerk is to share the 3 road safety audits with members and seek a recommendation for a way to go forward, to arrange a meeting with relevant authorities to discuss any ongoing issues or concerns. This is attachment 5. I believe everybody has had the road safety audits, is that correct, Town Clerk?
Yes.
On the council, that's right. And you've heard from a member of the public this evening as well. So we do need to discuss this, and we do need to have a way forward, which needs to be proposed by councillor and seconded, so we can all vote on this. So I didn't see the hands. Councillor Chuka, I think, was first.
I'm hoping we can sort of short circuit the discussion, because I think we could spend another hour talking about the same issues, and let's not do that. It's very clear that the input from the resident was spot on. I think my proposal is that we should agree a subset of STC to engage, to lead on this, and to engage with DDC and KCC and Stagecoach, and to take forward our issues that are still outstanding, that haven't been represented in the latest risk assessment, which is sparse. and hopefully come to a conclusion trying to address the risks that we know are present and haven't been properly assessed. So a new risk assessment that takes account of those risks. That would be my proposal in terms of this.
Thank you very much. Councillor Black?
Yes, I mean, one of the major flaws of these risk assessments are that also the time of day it's taken is that the assessors do not see the actual problems of parking, which aggravates the congestion. And if we are going to have another risk assessment, I do think they need to try to find some time when people are double parked outside a couple of local shops and there's a bus there, because otherwise it looks all hunky-dory on paper, but the reality is completely different. I would endorse that we need to involve Stagecoach. I appreciate the operator does not decide where bus stops are, but they are the professionals. They will tell you what's going to work and what isn't. And we know from past history they sought to amend some of the daft proposals that we're lumbered with now. I choose my word deliberately.
Councillor Ripley was next, sorry, beg your pardon.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I thought the report was appalling. It was very poorly done and very short of insight and information, and that you also nearly lost a councillor on the way here today, this evening, because the bus was parked up, it's dark outside, and I really had to risk my life running across the road to get here because you couldn't see, or the driver coming towards us to turn left wouldn't have been able to see me there. Had I been much older, I could have really struggled there. So, you know, they don't take any of these things into account, the age of the population and all these things, and I just think it was a very poor report.
Thank you very much for those comments. Almost similar to myself in Morocco. Councillor Marie next, and then
thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think, to be fair, this is one of the only few things that this whole council agree on. That I said at the town team meeting last week that the stage 3 safety audit is not worth the paper it's written on. It's just flawless. Everyone knows the profession that I do. It's dangerous. I know it's dangerous. Everybody else knows it's dangerous. As I totally agree with what Councillor Chu said, but enough's enough now. Enough talk, let's get on with it. Let's get and invite Stagecoach as well. We need to get in there and start bashing some heads together and so I second the motion, Councillor Chu.
Super, thank you for that, Councillor Marie. Councillor Mallet.
Oh, if I can add personal experience again, if you are driving with a trailer.
We haven't had this scenario.
No, if you're driving with a trailer and there is a bus there, you have to go, and you're turning left, you have to go in the wrong lane. Yes. So you are then driving against the traffic, and if there's somebody coming at speed, that will be a head-on collision. Fortunately, I have driven around with the trailer, I have avoided the other people, but they look a little bit frightened.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you. So we've had a proposal and we've had that proposal seconded. Did you just want to recap your proposal, Councillor Chuka?
So,
just briefly.
Yes, my proposal was that we should agree on a subset of this council. I would suggest it's probably the people who have previously been the subset to arrange with the town clerk's involvement a further meeting to revisit the risks that we know that are still outstanding so that a further risk assessment can be requested with the 3 parties mentioned.
Oh, super. And could I just have the people that are on that subset, would they be happy to continue?
So Mr Mayor, the current was, it was myself, Councillor Wiles, Councillor Breen and Councillor Malik that was the first group. However, I'm more than happy for any councillors to attend and help get this.
I think it would be good to keep
going
to the proposal, if that's okay. So that's been proposed and seconded. So all those in favour of that proposal, please show. That's unanimous. Thank you very much. That was a lot quicker than I thought that would be. Thank you for the discussion and observations on that. Item number 4 is Bay Hall and Maddox Working Group updates. and this is for members to consider reports from the RFO regarding the Georgina Maddox Charitable Fund. Decisions are required on this, and this is attachment 6A and 6B. And as we know, the public are sort of baying for our blood on this, because every time I set foot outside the front door, the one question I get asked is what's happening with the Georgina Maddox Trust and the fund. So it is time to accelerate our efforts on this matter. So we have here the report. The recommendation is that council is asked to approve the recommendation that levics are used to carry out the accounts preparation and audit in year one once the charity is set up. And just to remind you about this, you have the quotes in front of you. It's a very difficult situation, but it has been detailed that due to the fund being set up, the income to the fund in the first year would be at such a level that it would require the full audit. And so unfortunately the very first quote, which is the one I would have plumped for, is not really relevant, unfortunately, and we have to go obviously for quotes 2 or 3. The RFO is obviously recommending we go with quote number 2. Quote number 3, so I beg your pardon, which is J. Griggs, Levick's Accountants, but this will be for an expenditure of 3,000 plus VAT for the full audit and accounts preparation. And although I'm very upset at spending public money, particularly like this, it gets it set up for the first year, and then subsequent years it will not be as costly. So that's the recommendation that's being put forward to you. Could I have somebody to... Oh, Councillor Gray, did you have a question?
Can I just make one comment, please? In the section headed decision in the report of the finance officer, she mentions that Ford McKay Williams do the accounts for the Tollbridge Fund. They also, of course, do the accounts for this council, and they also do the accounts for the Sandwich United Charities. And it's for that reason that the working group decided it would be better to bring a bit of fresh blood into it.
Indeed.
And have a different
I
firm
agree.
doing it.
I agree fully.
Even though levics are cheaper.
Indeed. Indeed, thank you very much for that. And Councillor Franklin?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I know the public wants it, but it's still dealing with the solicitors. We haven't got the full amount of everything yet. We've asked the town clerk, Councillor Gray and I would like to have a meeting with the solicitor to see what the problem is. It's over 2 years now since poor Georgina passed away, isn't it? 2 years ago in September. So I don't know why they're taking so long to sort this all out. And we did been talking about the charity set up, so we might need an a general meeting of the town council, because it's so involved, isn't it? So rather, we wouldn't have time on a normal meeting, so we will be asking for an extraordinary meeting.
Of course. Of course. Yeah.
Mr. Mayor.
Oh, indeed, Councillor Miles.
Sorry, I'm dealing with an estate at the moment as an executor.
Of course.
And I just find it strange that the executor is also the solicitor. Is that legal? Is it normal? It just seems like a conflict of interest.
Councillor Gray, would you have an answer to
Levics are not solicitors.
Sorry?
Levics are not solicitors.
No, I mean for
They're accountants.
the Maddox estate.
Yeah.
Generally. The executor is the solicitor, is that correct?
Yeah, I think it can.
It's the same company.
Yeah, it's the same company.
Yeah, they can.
Well, that is agreed.
Yeah.
So the proposal I'd like to put forward is that we adopt the recommendation that levics are used to carry out the accounts preparation and audit in year one once the charity is set up. Do I have a seconder for that, please? Councillor Ripley, and all those in favour, please signify. That's everybody. Thank you very much for that one there. It's good, that moves that forward. Item number.
Apologies, there's a side
Apologies, that's it. Apologies. Attachment 6B is to consider a request to Councillor Marie to move the Maddox working group meetings to take place in the evenings Councillor Marie has emailed a request to ask that the Maddox Working Group meetings are moved to take place in the evenings. This is due to his current work pattern, being mainly daytime hours, and therefore he has more evenings free. The recommendation is Council is asked to decide whether the Maddox Working Group meeting should take place in the evenings. Now, there's two options to this. I think, Town Clerk, did you have something you want to say on this? Or do you
Not
want me to
really. I
say?
think councillors had an opinion.
Okay,
Yeah.
oh, super. I'll take the councillor's opinion. I'll go for Councillor Ripley first this time. So.
Yeah, I mean, regardless who the councillor is who requested this, I find it a very strange request indeed, because there are other people on the working group who might find this completely inconvenient, and that might apply across the board to any council meeting. So I'm sorry, I just find this completely unacceptable.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Tukin, would you like to?
So I'll turn it into a proposal because I'm
Please
also
do.
perplexed. So I was going to propose that this request is deferred to the chair of the working group, because we haven't had a conversation with that working group around this request. So that's the right place.
It is indeed.
We can't deal with some a convenience at the inconvenience of others, and I do not know about the other members in terms of their availability. So we should do it in the round. If we can't resolve it, then fair enough, it can come to STC, but we haven't had that conversation. And I think the precedent has already been set. Whilst it was STBF, Councillor Morehouse did ask for, on the Museum and Archives committee, to have that varied, and the outcome of that discussion at STBF was it was deferred to check with those people impacted. So there were people impacted who are on the working group who are not here, and I would find it very difficult to have 12, 11 other people vote on the time for a meeting when there are key people who aren't here.
Indeed.
So my proposal is
your
to
proposal.
defer it to the chair with the group to decide.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Super. And do you have a seconder for that recommendation?
I would second that.
Okay, Councillor Gray. So, did
I'll
you?
just have a speak?
Yeah,
I'm being slated.
indeed.
Can I just say, I didn't know this was in the agenda. I sent that email purely as a thing to the RFO. I didn't know it was going to be on the agenda. However, may I just point out, I work full time. Mr. May, you work full time. Councillor Tomlins works full time as well.
Indeed.
So I do understand his. However, I didn't know this was on there.
No.
Yes, I'm more than happy for it to go to the chair for the working group. However, some of us cannot obviously attend the meetings because of it being in the daytime. So even the museum and archive meetings, they're in the daytimes as well, or very early afternoons. So I can't always attend them.
No.
So I appreciate people's comments. However, it's purely for everybody to have their say that are on the working groups instead of people not being allowed to be on them because they can't make the work commitment.
Thank you very much for that, Councillor Marie. Thank you. That's been recognised. It is a difficulty. So, but we have a proposal.
I just very quickly wanted to make a suggestion. If that's all right.
Please stand.
It may be a bit contentious, but as it's come up before, is there not an option to alternate afternoons to evening with certain working groups? I think that might be something that could be considered.
Well, that could be.
By the working group, can decide that.
Yeah.
We haven't had that conversation.
But it's a
Good
suggestion,
Yeah, that could be.
Should be given the first option.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That could be taken to the group. So would you include that in part of your proposal?
I'm deferring to the chair of the working group.
That's great. Okay then. So that's been proposed and seconded. All those in favour of taking the decision to the working group? Thank you. And that has been passed. Thank you very much for those explanations. That's good. That's item 6A and 6B. Item number 15. Something enjoyable to look forward to. D-Day 80, 6th of June 2024. Members are asked to consider a report from the Town Clerk and agree the Council take part in the national event D-Day 80 on the 6th of June 2024. This is attachment number 7. A decision will be required. I'll just read out the recommendations. That Sandwich Town Council register their participation in this important event and organise the elements of the event they wish to facilitate for Sandwich. Could I just point out one item that I've been asked to raise by the responsible financial officer first, is the available funds for this event are unfortunately a very small amount. We're looking at literally £80 is all we have in the kitty. If anybody wants to discuss ways to increase those funds or other options, then it'd be most opportune. I think Councillor Marie had his hand in the air first. Would you like to stand and talk?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So after reading this, I have been organising some events with the Sandwich branch of the Royal British Legion regarding the D-Day landings. We are currently in talks with the Battle of Britain memorial flight to fly across the quay on one of the days of the weekend of that weekend. But I would like to recommend, please, if I may, that because they may be able to help with some funding as well, which is the RBL. So my recommendation would be is to Sandwich Town Council to seek support from the RBL and have some form of meeting with the RBL to see what can be discussed for the day's events. Their day's events are great. Yes, the Beacon's fantastic. If I like the Beacon, it doesn't normally get done quite a lot, so it'd be nice. But I'll strongly advise the council to speak to the RBL, the Royal British Legion Sandwich branch, to discuss with this because they have got some things planned for that day as well.
I see. Well, super ideal. Thank you for that information. That's very useful. And I think Councillor Anderson was next, actually, and then Councillor Tupin and Councillor Franklin.
I strongly support the idea that Sandwich Town Council should engage with this national D-Day event. D-Day was extremely important in the Second World War, and a great many men lost their lives reoccupying France, and we should remember them and celebrate what happened as a consequence of their sacrifice. However, what worries me about Sandwich Town Council is it's not just a question of very low funds, although I hear what you're saying, what Councillor Marie is saying about possible other sources, but I'm also worried about the capacity, the personal capacity of the staff in the Guildhall, because I'm not at all clear what we as a town council would actually be doing. So I'd like to hear a bit more detail and what the commitment could be of the Guildhall staff.
Thank you very much. Before I take on any other questions, I could enlighten you a little on that matter. I've discussed with the town clerk about that. The town council would literally be facilitating other organisations or groups, assisting them to organise any events. But basically the town council would be doing the lighting of the beacon in the evening and engaging with, we've been asked to engage a town crier we'll be making a proclamation from the balcony and in our attire, and the town crier will then go around the town and do what town criers do. On top of that, the floor is open for anybody to make suggestions and put ideas forward, but I do understand what you're saying, Councillor Anderson, and I for one would not burden our staff with any further than what we're doing currently. Councillor Tupin.
So I think just dovetailing into what you've said, there might be an opportunity to have an informal moment of remembrance at the Peace Monument, if that could be linked in, particularly if you're doing a town crier from the Guildhall. I think that would be a quite poignant aspect of the overall event.
That would indeed. Thank you very much for that. So, and then Councillor Franklin.
Yeah, perhaps a lot of new councillors don't realise, but for the millennium we actually bought a hot air gas balloon burner, which goes in the beacon. So the dearest thing is getting swell gas to provide about 6. They do weigh the cylinders, so we only pay for the amount of gas we've used, and it was always run by the town sergeant used to go down there, didn't he, and the caretaker. So it's quite a safety thing. It's very I shouldn't have thought it'd been a lot of gas use really, because it's only burns for about 5 minutes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So it's just nice just to have that symbol of the
Symbol.
flame shooting up. And we just got to make sure the time that it's dark, because I mean one time it had a little bit too twilight. It should have been a little bit later, really. But I'm all for it. I think it's a good idea. Yeah.
Indeed.
And to get it costed, yeah.
Super, thank you very much. And I think Councillor Marie,
Yeah,
did
I
you?
just wanted to make suggestions. Instead of the Peace Memorial, do the War Memorial. It is a War Memorial. It's to remember the soldiers that passed away that lived in Sandwich. So a reflaying the War Memorial would be much more better, I believe. As I said, the gas thing. The last time it was lit was the Queen's Diamond Jubilee. Sorry, Platinum Jubilee, should I say? Yeah, which is normally done by the outsourcing of Hipperstons. That done it last
Indeed,
time.
we do, yeah, that's right, thank you for that. Well, these are all ideas which can be taken forward. There was, did you actually, you had a proposal, Councillor Marie,
Yes,
for
this
the
proposal
RBL,
was
Sandwich RBL?
for Sandwich Town Council to speak to the Sandwich branch of the Royal British Legion to see if we could have some collaborative workings for the day.
Yeah.
Just to point out the day, I do believe the day may be quite quiet regarding that day, because I know for a fact that I will probably be in Normandy, as long as we've got over 200 coaches with lots of veterans or families of veterans down on the beaches for that day.
Oh, super, okay. And alongside, if Councillor Marie will accept it, I wanted the Town Council to engage with the 4 schools. I think it's very important that all 4 schools are aware of this event, and where possible we can engage with the schools to put something on, and quite possibly at both the memorials, so that there is an equal, you know, those that want to go to the Peace Memorial can go to the Peace Memorial, and those that want to go to the War Memorial can go to the War Memorial. But I would like to include the schools.
Can I add to that? With obviously the member cadets and also the local scout groups as well. They'll be
indeed, yeah, to engage with those. Councillor
And
Mrs.
also, I
Carter.
think we also liaise with the church for the bell ringing.
Oh, indeed. Thank you very much for that. That's a very important point. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, the town clerk did say, just to add to Councillor Marie's proposal here, if he would accept this, we were going to approach the church and the curfew ringing bell. So on the day we could have the bells ringing out as they, you know, probably would have done, I would imagine, on D-Day there. So that's the proposal we have for now. It's a very dynamic situation, so we can always add to this, and anybody can come to future meetings and propose other items or for discussion, if that's okay. But so that's Councillor Marie's proposal. Did we have a seconder for all those items? Councillor Black is seconding that, and all those in favour, please signify. Okay,
Thank you.
that's everybody. Thank you very much for that. That's very good there. Item number 16 is the draft local flood risk management strategy 24 to 34. KCC is the lead local authority in Kent for the flood. As the LFA, they have an overview role for local flooding. One of their duties is for the LLFA to develop, maintain, apply and monitor a local flood risk management strategy. A consultation is still open and seeks feedback via a questionnaire. The deadline is tomorrow, the 30th of January 2024. Councillor Black, Councillor Mallet have prepared the consultation questionnaire responses for members to consider and approve or amend before adopting as the consultation response from STC. And this is attachment number 8. Now this was sent to me by Councillors Black and Mallet some time ago, and I looked through it and scrutinised it, and I gave my assent to it, so I was quite happy for that. Did anybody have any questions? Councillor Chuka, please stand.
So I'd like to propose that we approve its presentation into the consultation, because we've all had the opportunity to review this already, and a number of us will have given comments in, and I think they certainly mind being reflected in there. So I'd like to propose that we approve the document.
Thank you very much. Councillor Anderson.
Yes, I strongly support this document, but I do have a general question about consultations, because we did respond to a consultation which Kent County Council asked us to respond to about changes to the parking regulations in the cattle market, which clearly they thought would be a tweak enough to deal with the problem of the bus stand. And I've absolutely no idea what happens to our response, because we were quite clear that tweaking is not the answer.
No.
And parking regulations are not the answer, and that something more radical has to be done, and somebody from KCC Highways, instead of sitting at their desk, which is what I think was the origin of those proposals, should come and actually have a look. And I haven't heard that they've offered to come or suggested a meeting. And similarly, I wonder what happens with this consultation. It's a huge amount of work to do this kind of thing, and we take it very seriously, and it's like sending it off to Mars. You've no idea. Has it crash landed? Is it sending signals back? What happened?
Thank you for that, Councillor Anderson. Perhaps I could ask the town clerk to reply on this. Are you registered so you get feedback?
No, so basically the consultation opportunities, all that consultation feedback goes into the process, and I can tell you for the traffic regulation order, that's not made at the moment, because I did check to see if it has been made, because the objections that have been received have to be responded to by Dover District Council. So until that process is complete, we won't hear anything.
That was to Kent County Council.
Yeah, the traffic regulation order, the consultation was done through Kent County Council, but it was an amendment to the cattle market through Dover District Council, because it's part of the forecourt works. It was all part of what this project was, basically. It was part and parcel of that. So that isn't made at the moment. There have been objections, and those have to be responded to by the District Council before Kent County Council will then look at. But it's not normal to receive individual responses to consultation opportunities like this. And if we want specific feedback, I'm happy to go to the relevant officers at either DDC or KCC, but it isn't normal for them to send you feedback on your feedback, if that makes sense.
Super, thank you. Did I have a seconder? I had a proposal for this. Seconder was Councillor Black. And all those in favour, please signify. Thank you. Thank you very much. That's very good. That's excellent news there. Item number 17 is policy and statement. Town clerk to share 2 draft policies that are required for the new website launch. One is the privacy policy, and the other one is the accessibility statement. These are attachments 9A and 9B. So basically we need a decision on this as to these being accepted and published on the new website when it is launched shortly. So hopefully you've all been able to look through these. I'll start off at this end, Councillor Wiles.
Yep. I move that the policies be adopted.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Councillor Wiles. Councillor Black.
Yes, you may have misread it, but about the opting out, there does seem to be no auto opt-out. You have to physically send an email or a letter in, which struck me in this day and age to be slightly out of sync as to what happens on most sites.
Sorry.
If I'm wrong, please correct me. It says it's on the, let me see, the second page, about the 4th line down.
Sorry, Councillor Black.
Oh,
We're talking about bullet points.
Oh, then
yes.
Yeah, the bullet point, yeah. I'm just surprised there's no auto opt-out.
I don't believe there is, not on the new website, but I can certainly clarify that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Chuka.
So my comment relates to privacy policy. Overall, I'm comfortable with both documents, but the privacy policy, as a public body, we're expected to have a data protection officer, and it's implied in the privacy policy rather than explicit. So I'd like it to be reflected who that person is, the town clerk, and stated within the policy.
Indeed, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's good. Okay. So Councillor Wiles has proposed that these policies be accepted and put onto the new website. Can I have a seconder for that? Councillor Ripley and all those in...
Sorry, is that?
With those,
with
those amendments.
With the two amendments, indeed.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. All those in favour with the two amendments?
Thank you.
That's passed. Item number 18 is a planning application. Members are to consider a planning application that's due to be commented on before the next planning committee meets in February 2024. Item A, planning application 23/01314 Schoolhouse Nursery, School Road, Sandwich, CT139HT. Proposal is the erection of a side and rear extension, alterations to windows and doors, formation of new vehicular access and parking, and a decision is required on this. As stated, I have spoken to Mr. Griffin myself on a couple of occasions about this. Mr. Griffin has told me that he's listened to and heard all the different residents' complaints and issues and concerns about this, and he's now amended the plans to reflect those residents' issues and concerns. So he's listened to the public and taking it forward. I, for one, my personal choice is I would hate for this property to remain in a dilapidated state. I think the property deserves to be refurbished as quickly as possible and to a very high standard. I know Mr. Griffin has got those high standards. I've seen another property of his, so I have evidence of the standard to which he will refurbish it to. I think we need to consider that we don't want another Limes on our doorstep. So, but it is down to individual choice as to this this planning application. Councillor Wiles.
I think this is a vast improvement on the original application, which you can see there's 10 or 15 objections to that, but for the revised application, I think there's only one person who's raised issue.
That's correct.
Thanks to Mr. Griffin for coming along to explain his position. I think my only concern is about this being a flat roof, albeit with a skylight, a light in the roof, which in the conservation area, I think we have a general policy that flat roofs are not desirable, albeit again, if you go past that property, it has a quite high wall, so it might not be completely visible from a pedestrian viewpoint. So that would be my only comment.
Thank you very much for that, Councillor Wiles. Councillor Chuka.
Yeah, I've got a few comments. So I recognise it has vastly improved as an application, so that's to be commended. One of the things is that KCC have asked for a robust construction management plan, and I think we should be stating that as well. That area, because I walk along it every day of the week, is a very difficult area in terms of traffic. Construction period will have a significant impact on the roads and also the residents surrounding it. So I think that should be an explicit statement, regardless of whether it's passed or not. I've got the same concerns about it not being a slanting roof, so I'd certainly be flagging that up as an issue. I still have concerns about the actual extension itself. The size of it, the proportion is out of kilter with the rest of the building. So the gable measurements are around about 4 metres in width. This extension is significantly bigger than that. And also in terms of the skylight, privacy is important, I think, for the neighbours. So should it be agreed to today, I'd ask that there's an obscuring request in terms of that skylight, because it will look up towards other properties. They're my main comments. I've yet to decide.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you, Councillor Chuka. Councillor Franklin.
I'm not sure if the applicant's changed his architect, because the previous architect was a former conservation officer at Dover District Council. And personally, I quite like the first design. I know a lot of people, I mean, I know people complain, but places have to be modernised and move forward. And we do have a policy, it's a conservation, we don't have flat roofs in the conservation area. Otherwise, if you let this one go, how are you going to stop anyone else doing it in the future? So personally, I'm against this flat roof, and that's the reason.
Okay, I'm sure that's not a problem there. So, as I say, with the flat roof, I think it's a matter of choice in this occasion. For anybody that attended a site visit or went to visit the property, as you walk by, it's a very high curtailment wall, so you won't actually see the flat roof unless you're actually invited in to the property to see it. So I think it's just a matter of choice with the flat roof. Perhaps if you have something against that, then that'd be the case. So I need a proposer and a seconder for this application. Councillor Marie?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I see you've got Councillor Franklin saying about the conservation area and the flat roofs. However, I do see the point what Councillor Wiles said about the high wall. That is a very high wall. It's taller than me.
Yeah.
It's remarkable. In that, I'll propose that the council support the application.
Okay, thank you. And did we have a seconder for that at all? With that as well? So, would anybody second?
Are we able to propose with I've made some specific comments?
Indeed. Oh, sorry. Yeah, beg your pardon. Sorry, Councillor Chuka. Yeah. So with the comments that you have proposed. Yeah. Sorry, beg your pardon. With the comments you've proposed, we'll go forward to Dover District Council. So they will go forward. And did you want to second that, sir?
Well,
Councillor Anderson?
I looked very quickly at the change plans just before we came here, and there is a document from some public authority, and I can't remember which it is, laying out what is necessary as far as the construction process.
That's what KCC, yeah, it's a construction management plan.
I would support this, I think, so long as we say it's very important.
Oh, indeed, it would. Dover District Council with any consultees such as water or even the fire brigade or anything like that, any consultees will be considered by Dover District Council as the planning authority, and their recommendations would have to be adopted. So going ahead with, we've got a proposal to support, and Councillor Chuka, were you seconding that with your?
I just play back what my concerns were. So if it is a flat roof, then it shouldn't have a usable roof terrace on top. Also, privacy, skylight to be obscured, and I'm sure there was another thing I mentioned as well. I'm just looking through my notes. Yes, sorry. To echo the need for a robust construction management plan.
Yeah. Oh, super. So that's been proposed and seconded. All those in favour, please show with your cards.
So, sorry, Councillor Franklin, is that against?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay,
I record it, please.
Yeah, one against and one. Yeah.
One abstention.
Yeah.
So perhaps.
Yeah.
Councillor Black was abstention. Councillor Franklin. So that item has been passed now. So thank you very much for the conversation. Was it?
Can I just make a comment about the flat roof issue?
We've voted on it now. Sorry.
Just for information.
Thank you. So that's item number 18. Item number 19 and 20, we can decide if somebody would like to propose that we don't go into confidential. We could leave the confidential items until the end of the Tollbridge Fund, if somebody would like to propose that at all. Thank you very much, Councillor Marie. And did I hear somebody second that at all? Councillor Wiles? Oh, thank you. Okay, and all those in favour of moving items 19 and 20 to end of the Tollbridge Fund? Thank you. Okay. Thank you. I'll call an address to the meeting so that you can partake of the toilets and any refreshments that you may have. So, just 5 minutes. Trustees, can I please bring your attention to Sandwich Town Council ordinary meeting of the council as trustee of Sandwich Tollbridge Fund. This day dated Monday the 29th of January 2024. Item number 1, apologies for absence received, please.